Oh, what a break. What a lovely, refreshing break. I managed to get out of the chair, go have a wander. Beta was in the laboratory working hard on the next strats for these maps. It was a wonderful time. I hope you had a great time, Twitch chat. But if you're just joining us, welcome back to Team Fortress TV. I'm TurboTabs. I'm still here with Beta, and I'm still here with Adam. The Boomers are still here for this ETF2L Season 36 Preseason Map Cup. And it's over, Beta. Round Robin is gone. We're out of there. But it's still going to feel a bit familiar because there's still just one map that these two new teams have to play. We're not going to go straight into the best of threes like I promised earlier. We're just going to go into our round one of our playoff and just they're going to play one map to see who goes on and who leaves.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I just went off the deep end there looking at Cough Bagel only to just not be able to talk about it because we're not playing the map. Oh well. Time well spent, ladies and gentlemen. These are the sort of good decisions that I make with my time. But yeah, hopefully we can actually get going because that was a long-ass break.
Yeah, well, our next map is very clear from now on. You could even say it's clear cut, as it is, of course, King of the Hill clear cut that we're going to be heading on over to now. And with a new map, well, I mean, a revisited map, we're going to revisit some of these teams you haven't seen quite yet, and some teams you've seen before. So you've got the Badlands Chugs and the Jens Weber, blah, 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 the Society team.
Jens Weber is like the correct way to pronounce it.
Jens Weber. Okay, excellent. So we haven't seen any much of the Badlands Chugs, but they won their group quite comfortably, or so I'm told. So it'll be interesting to see how they match up against a team that we've already had a little bit of a preview before. Now, you got any sort of immediate admiration for either of these teams so far, Beta?
I mean, Blank is on blue team here. The Jens Weber Society. So I am already cheering for them, although I think they're going to be really hard-pressed to actually win this. I think Badlands Chuck is a really solid team. So I would definitely consider them the favorites. And I think Wargasm's going to frag out real hard and yeah, probably Scratch as well. And I can't quite remember who everyone is. I think they're all like fake nicking to some degree, but oh well.
Well, you just have to play the cards that you dealt, I'm afraid. And speaking of which, they actually managed to get to choose their cards slightly, at least in the maps, from what I'm told. So the fact that they picked Clear Cut is a bit surprising to me. I thought people would be a bit more familiar with Bagel or something along these lines, or maybe it's just been randomly allocated to them. But is there anything about this map that you've seen so far that you like, or maybe a reason why they picked this map?
This one was the first time I saw this was when I made my new map cup, and this was one of the submissions to that cup. And back then it was quite different. There was you could go underneath the point. There was like a cave down there, and the geometry was quite a bit different. The big issue back then was that it was basically impossible to push into middle. You could basically just place a soldier or two up on the high ground, and they could just spam out anyone coming into middle, and it was just really awful to play from that. And it also just lagged out really hard. But things have luckily changed. All the lag issues are gone. The doors are all really wide right now. It seems to me like it has been sort of smoothed out quite a bit, so the height difference is not as big. And you can see there's these props you can kind of climb, there's these big towers, and they kind of have some mini ramps that lead to nowhere. But those are really nice because they can kind of give you some high ground and make it really easy to, or kind of make it way over to the opponent's roof or your own roof or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it does look interesting. It almost looks like a Tony Hawk's map. There's so many sort of little ramps and skating rings and all sorts of ramps to nowhere, basically. But I like the mid looks a bit reminiscent of an old Cough map that's escaping me right now. But where you've got those two sort of houses, had an underground section as well that is completely escaping me. But it kind of reminds me and hitting the notes of that, and maybe it's combining a little bit with Bagel, but maybe that's just how mine works. But going past the maps for a bit, this is a competition after all. It may be a map cup, but it is still a cup where two of these teams are going to be facing off. It is going to be the Badlands Chugs versus the Jens. Is that the team name? I've lost the team name now.
Jens Weaver Society.
Yeah, well done, well done. Okay, so we'll go straight into it. It's me, TurboTabs, Beta here on the mic, Adam on the production. And the first thing I'm seeing is scouts commanding this high ground. No soldiers will pass this area for a foreseeable time until Droy is going to kind of do a drive-by bomb, just trying to lay down the foundations. Mr. Kell is actually going to go into the brunt of this team and trade his life for a scout, and losing both soldiers for the Badlands Chugs now. It's a hard time to kind of fight against this blob, and Basti's just going to command the midpoint and take it right in front of their eyes.
And Droy has kind of made his way in behind lines. It's a nice rocket onto that scout. That's going to force him back. And you can really just see the Jens Weaver Society. They have much better positioning here. It kind of seemed like whichever team jumped in their soldier first was going to lose it. And yeah, I think it was Wargasm to jump in, and he just got chewed up by some scouts. But a bunch of counter-aggressors are going to come in here. Uber's going to get forced out by Trump. He's going to have to get the hell out of there, because now the counter Uber comes in here. Very aggressive. Blank has gone down, and it looks like they will not chase it out there. So a bit lucky there from Trump, I think, to get out. But yeah, now they're just going to come back in. And I think this map, unlike the last one, is much easier to hold, and is much better to be defensive on this map than the other one.
Of course, especially because I don't really see many flank ways to get in behind anywhere. It seems if you can get on top of this roof area, you have a commanding presence on all the sight lines on this map. So it's really going to be up to the clever flair of these soldiers if they can get in without being pebbled down by these scouts. And look, we see an example from Droid trying to jump in there, and he immediately gets controlled.
Oh, Trump survives. Wow. Trump was surfing, and if he hadn't landed on that roof, he would have just cratered and died. But as it is, he's going to go back to pick up a medkit, and he will be safe and sound. And the point's going to change hands once again. So both teams are about the same amount of time right now. And Otto, he's about to have his own Uber. They're going to have a slight Uber disadvantage, but that's going to be all gone. The disadvantage is once they get in here. So now it's just a matter of, it's actually a really passive hold. Usually back in the day you'd have them hold really tough hold.
Wargasm and Mr. Kell jumping in synchronized, trying to get behind enemy lines, and will actually draw the enemy to their behind as they force off the Uber in the sticky situation that Yen Society has to deal with now, and they're being bum rushed by the red Uber as well, and they will back off. They did lose their medic, however, and they're going to lose the point as well. Very nice sort of coordinated bombs coming out from those Badlands Chug soldiers.
Soldiers in. Nice serve there from Otto. Gonna make it away from that. So Trump, he's gonna be spawning up now, and now we have this soldier who's pretty far forward. Looks like he's gonna eventually just get an arrow and get the hell out of there as well. So far we haven't seen any teams actually struggle to get into middle. This was the big issue back in the day, where like we had this situation where you could just put this soldier up on this roof and he can just spam anyone out, and you can't properly push into them. And looks like the double soldier has actually been pushed back, and now this other soldier is going to come in here. And the scouts onto the medic. Wow, Blank just finds the hole, immediately makes it onto the medic and takes him down.
Yeah, it's really shocking to see how that scout managed to weasel his way past the front line there. It seemed like they had their eyes on everything, but as the chips have fallen and the dust is still kind of scaving away here, it will be towards the Society's way. They're trying to cough off the point now. They might think about delaying it after they get this scout pick. Easy 1v2 scout situation here. Is there going to be another? As we've got chariots entering in from both sides. One's even come with an extra horse.
Yeah, already got some banter in chat. I love it. And looks like, yeah, they're going to set up pretty passively once again. They're not really going to contest this. You can see they're kind of going in through the middle through this very steep area. And it is quite steep, but there's no real pressure on it, so it doesn't matter much. And now this double soldier bomb comes in. He has to force out immediately. And this is what we've been seeing so far. The double soldier bomb comes in, and then the soldiers try to go behind lines when they're in there. You know, you kind of mentioned how you can just see everything. There's no real flank area. But, you know, if you can get the soldier behind lines, then that kind of counts as a flank. Of course, they didn't go behind lines because they got the force out.
Yeah, I was thinking of left and right, but those too busy not thinking of up in the air and into the clouds, as both of these soldiers seem to, all on both of these teams, love to just get up in the air and start getting behind. They're doing it again on Badlands Chugs. They've got both of them there trying to deal with one scour each, and one falters and ends up breaking chainmail of both of these soldiers' defenses. And now they have to fight a 6v4 scenario. They will pop up the Uber to make it a bit more equal, but they should have an Uber waiting in the wings soon for the Society, as they're actually losing too many players to these Ubers. So even with the Uber charge up now, it's a bit useless. Trum's actually going to have to be forced off to use the Uber, and they will clean up that scout that's forced them, but it's got to hurt if you're over on the Yen's Society.
Yeah, that's not how you want to use an Uber. They're still going to go in here. It's going to be quite a while before Otto has an Uber on his own.
Mr. Kell, he was sitting behind. Nobody knew that he was behind there in that little flank area, and he managed to get a big amount of damage alongside his demo man, Little Red Riding, to kind of get an easy peasy kill. And now it's double chariot scouts. I can hear Tweaker in the chat already. This is not kosher. This is not allowed. The medic is just too powerful right now. But they both have a couple of scouts each, and the scout fight will be won today by the Badlands Chugs, and the soldiers have re-entered. They've actually popped off their Uber, and this is a very nice Uber. I like this Scrap just kind of walking in, getting... Oh, there's a saw actually coming out from Trum, but it doesn't quite have the full Uber charge yet. If he's still trying to weasel his way out, but will go down, and he's treated to an even longer respawn now.
Yeah, the scout is going to try and come in here, try and be a hero. Cannot do it. And eventually Badlands Chugs will take this first round. That was pretty close. 19 seconds was all that stood between the two teams here, but just eventually managing to get that final fight out. It seemed like they really managed to get a nice advantage and just kind of ride the momentum once they got that going. But yeah, these soda bombs, they've been very crucial so far. Let's see how that continues on this mid-fight.
Yeah, the soldiers seem to be having a whale of a time. My god, they've all just like sailing through the air. They get right on top of the enemy demo man. So with a demo man down for the Society, it makes me wonder if they can actually keep this fighting going, and it seems they don't need a demo man. Little Red Riding is kind of caught in on himself on alone and can't really fight without the rest of his team because they're too busy being flanked by the rest of the remnants of the Society, and they will actually get picked apart slowly one by one. And during all this, they were capping mid.
Yep. It's some really nice chasing going on there. Blank is coming in from the side, taking down the demo man there. Like, Little Red Riding Hood was just caught in there for so long and actually managing to survive against the soldier for ages, but eventually just get taken down. So they're going to jump in here, kind of jumps into the tower. That's not quite what you want. He's going to...
Mr. Kell is showing him how it's done. This is how you do it, lad. And he immediately dies and going in by himself. He gets much more nicer rockets coming out from Wargasm, even though his first rocket was a poor little jump in. Oh god, Little Red Riding is like, oh my, what big rockets you have, as he will get gobbled up there by the big bad Wolf Society, and it's going to be an easy defense for the Wens.
Yeah, Little Red Riding Hood has been kind of really super aggressive so far. Just been getting caught out a whole lot, but can't get caught out anymore because now Otto has his full Uber advantage. They're going to come in here. You can see Trump, he's already just retreating out of this as much as humanly possible. Jay's going to try and come in here, get the Uber force, but it looks like that's not going to be the case here. And it's actually quite aggressive holding right now. And here comes the Uber force, so to speak, and they're actually going to use this Uber aggressively.
Oh my god, Exile tracing Trum to the ends of the earth, and he's going to massacre anything that stands in his way, and will actually get out of there with his tail between his legs, but sadly it won't be his medic, as he will go down during that fray. They've got a full Uber charge advantage now for Trum and the boys, and let's see if they can make a stellar Uber out of it as much as Badlands Chugs did there.
I think they overstepped their boundaries quite a bit with that Uber. They just went deep into enemy territory, and Otto could not get out of there, couldn't grab a scout in time.
Oh no, the scout's ahead. Trum's not linked up to him. He's trying to get to him, does reach him in time, and the collapses almost didn't even need that Uber. And look, they're going just as deep, it seems. Oh god, the medic manages to get out because he's just been healing a scout through all of that.
Scouts onto Trum, but no. Blank will defend his medic right there. That looked almost identical to the push that we saw before. Just the teams were switched around. Looks like escaping through that left side there is just really good for the medic. It's quite easy to just get body blocked for the attacking team, and the mate can't make it in.
Both of these teams have really been favouring like the scout getaway vehicle, just hopping on that taxi. Oh no, Trum's missed his taxiway. Oh, there we go. The Uber's arrived, and he has. Well, the Uber car service, not the Uber charge. Don't get confused. It's just a joke. As we're going into another little bomb from Wargasm, lays out a lot of damage, but no sort of finishing kills here. Exile commits himself in to play off the damage, but everyone's just kind of spread even across it. Nobody's weak enough to actually go down.
Yeah, really good. I really like Trump's positioning right now. He's very good at just staying behind his team and just letting everyone else just kind of being corralled into his loving scout arms of his own teammates. They're just kind of playing it really well so far, and you can see that they're at a pretty solid advantage zone. Now Otto, he doesn't have an Uber for quite a while, so this is this awkward situation where you feel like you should push, you feel like you should do a suicide wave. If you do a suicide wave, you're going to waste a bunch of Uber for time, but actually, oh my god, look at this. It's super aggressive Uber in here.
Yeah, they're actually showing a bit more restraint with this Uber charge now. They're kind of checking their corners, making sure just mid's on lockdown rather than going for the chase. This does mean that Otto's going to have his Uber charge ready, and it's time for the counter chariot as they start just running in. They've identified where the scouts are, but not where Trum is instead, and they will just match the same sort of gameplay from the society and just capture the point instead.
Yeah, Trump managed to make it out of there just fine. He'll have like a 10% advantage. That's not usually something you can really push off of. But, you know, you might as well just push in here and take a big old, let's call it a mid-fight, so to speak. We're just going to move in here with the scouts and the soldier. Troy almost goes down, but almost being the key word right here. They're kind of taking their own left side, and I'm kind of wondering where they're going to go from here.
Surgical stickies coming out from Little Red Riding there, and the nice follow-up from Mr. Kell. Exile's going to get even more follow-up for that follow-up, and everyone's so weak over on Society, and Jens Weaver will retreat for now, and they're going to feel pretty good on the Badlands Chugs. They've got their medic with full Uber charge and not even a scratch on him.
Yeah, he's chilling for sure. They don't quite have very many people forward. The rest of the team are spawners, so they're not going to be there for a while. So they might be very aggressive forward here. And look at this again, Scott is being sent into the skybox. They've been both of these teams.
Oh wait, no, he's going for flank. He's gone the long way around. He's going to take a fight to a soldier instead. But I thought he was going to maybe go flank onto Tron there, but thinks wiser of it. And oh, nice pipes as. They're going to clean up that aggression from the soldier there. I don't know what play they were kind of hoping for. They're going to have an Uber charge a little bit, and I think they are leaving a little bit of a player advantage or a heal advantage for the tiniest amount of time, but they're going to just calm things down, go back, build that Uber charge, and start pushing in it with it now.
Both of these teams have been very aggressive with the Ubers. Actually, they're going to come in here. Nice force from Mr. Kell. Even gets out, just rides that explosion way out of there. Otto, he's not quite in safety, but Jay just gets destroyed.
Yeah, Jay was kind of caught away from the rest of his team there, overextends into the wading arms of Badlands Chugs, and you can tell like the desperation that they had making that push there, and it was a bit sloppy, and they've been punished for it. It's 2 rounds, easy peasy for the Badlands Chugs so far.
Yeah, it seems like they just have an extra gear, so to speak. Whenever it kind of looks dicey, they just turn it on, and they manage to take it out there. But the way both of the teams have been using the Uber have been so aggressive, and I don't quite understand it. Seems to me like it's super beneficial to just sit back and do nothing for a whole bunch.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Kell, very nice positioning. Get some nice little damage to start off the mid onto Trum, but it's kind of sacrificed a couple of the players to really push forward. They have so much to deal with Mr. Kell. The rest of the team is just being left lemminging in one by one into Badlands Chugs, and it's very easy for the combo to clean up.
Yeah, luckily for them though, Trump has made his way out of there, and that means that they can do just a normal push in here. They have a slight disadvantage just because Otto wasn't healing for a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be, or sorry, because Trump wasn't healing for a bit. But I don't think that's going to be a whole lot of problem right there. Exile kind of holding forward here. Looks like he was just scouting for Mr. Kell, who's going to jump in very aggressively. He'll take down Droy from the high ground, but this is just a fight for the high ground.
They're very low here. Jay with a nice follow-up to get the kill, but does cost him his life. And they're trading cards here. It's a shame they've got the ultimate card, as they both used each other's Ubers, and the first one to use is the first one to die, as they will end up being forced out of the mid. And very nice reservations there from Trum and Co.
Jay is holding pretty far forward here. It's gonna go for the the pickaxe there onto the scout. Will not get him. Blank will cleaned up though. Now it's gonna be a bunch of counter aggression here. Very passive hold right now. Otto, you can see he's really far back. Doesn't want to be far forward here with the rest of his team.
Oh my god, it feels bad playing a scout in this map, because the most forward person that isn't got some cover immediately gets picked
Roy,
off.
though.
Yeah,
Takes down Otto.
it's really hard. Mr. Kell has gone for the longest sort of flank around. He needs to pay off here. He does start off with a soldier kill. He does follow up with a scout kill, and he's probably going to end it with a medic kill if he keeps this chase going. A slice, a slice. That's how you kill and deal with a flanking soldier, gentlemen. This is how you do it. With an Uber charge rewarded to that man, they can push into this mid.
And there's some sticky traps on the box. It kind of like fanned out the sticky traps right here. I kind of like how Little Red Riding Hood has set this up. Wargasm behind line.
Yeah, he's forced off the Uber onto Trum. Nobody really checked that little room there, and it's benefited him with that Uber charge null and void now. And Wargasm still behind. He's going to enter in, and Mr. Kell is in a position to maybe back him up. Exile as well, and yeah, they're just torn apart.
Otto's on 10 HP. He almost got taken down by a soldier, but just barely didn't get him. Trum looks like he was getting chased down by a scout, but it looks like Blake's gonna just pick off Exile there, who is actually Canadian, I think. So a bunch of high ping. Actually, both scouts are kind of high ping here, so that's interesting to me. But yeah, big Uber advantage right now for Otto. So I think we're about to see a suicide wave here.
Yeah, Droy's going in, and he manages to wait. That was a very early pop coming out from them, but I guess they want to get aggressive with it. Little Red Riding's just in there. He's laying carpet bombs all over them. Easy for Little Red Riding, and we question the Uber, but maybe we shouldn't question it when they get results like that, Beta.
Yeah, that was a very weird Uber, but hey, if your demo man jumps in and kills everything, who are we to complain? Blank. He is actually winning this fight against the Exile, but doesn't have enough loader here to actually take a further fight. And now it's going to be a scout on the soldier against a demo man and the soldier.
Oh, they're scared. They're scared. They've it's an even fight there, but they actually decide to back off there over on the when. Oh god, I'm never going to get that name right. The other society here as they try and push back in now as a unit with all their players back up, but they have just as many players on the Badlands. Chugs chugging away, and Wargasm will go down to a nice kind of cleanup kill by Blank, and it's given the confidence to the rest of the society to start pushing over. They just need to focus down their targets now, and they don't need to focus. Everyone's just doing a good job of winning these skirmishes on their own.
Yeah, got it. They cleaned up really well. They're about to have an Uber, so you know they need to hold this point for 2 minutes. If at any point they lose the point, they will lose the match. Just it's that simple. But everything else is in their favor. They have the Uber advantage, they have good positioning, they have good heals. Everything is kind of going as
Mr. Kell, he's in. He's immediately died though. That's starting off nice so far. Trum will use his Uber somewhat early, and he ends up dropping a scout during that. A scout begging his medic to kind of flash in there, but Exile picks him up before he sees him. He's got the flank onto Trum. Soldier will spot him. Jay, well done keeping that lockdown. Basti is trying to lay it down. Exile's making a fool out of them though. 3 guns on him, and he now only just goes down. And they have held for so far, Peter.
Yeah, but that was a really poor pop in my opinion. That was way too loose and easy to get that out of a Trum there. But hey, it's they're still holding mid. They still need to take this fight. They actually got a bunch of players weak, but Jay goes down here as the first casualty.
Yep, soldiers are going in now, and the synced coordinated aggression has made it difficult. They've taken out 3 lives already with just a few scouts left. It's just way too much demand, not enough firepower. 3-0, easy peasy, clean win for the Badlands Chugs there, and it's over just as quickly as it started.
Yeah, surprisingly fast game here. I figured that Jens Weber Society were actually going to be able to take a round or two. As it is, that was not the case. And It kind of played surprisingly similar to what we saw on the first map, right? Where it was pretty aggressive. I was expecting these teams to kind of hold further back, let the enemy team just jump into them, and then just slowly bleed them out, and then use the Uber then. But instead, they just kind of waited until they were kind of inside the middle, and then they just popped Uber on them very aggressively, and that kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I feel like, before we look at any logs and any sort of mathematics, before they make me look like a fool beater, I'm going to call out the soldiers here. I think the soldiers over on Badlands Chugs did a phenomenal job there. It felt like so much more space and like attention was being commanded by Mr. Kell and Wargasm, especially these coordinated bombs that they're doing as well. I mean, they weren't always going off all the time, but that's TF2, baby. It's not always going to go to plan, but it just felt so much more commanding, whilst Jays and Droids were very just one person like lemminging in, or they were just trusting that one person to get a lot of work done, and sometimes it worked, but it just felt so much better with that coordinated effort from Badlands Chugs.
Yeah, I agree. They bought a lot more space, a lot more of the time. And it was kind of interesting how we were talking, or like thinking that maybe you use kind of the indoor area to the sides of the point as soldier, but instead we just kind of saw them fly into the skybox and then be behind lines all the time.
Yeah, it seemed like the only reasonable play that these teams wanted to do was just kind of get those big boy bombs, those C-taps going, and get them in there and firing, and see who can do the best game of Duck Hunt. But it seemed the society will not be that Duck Hunter. But a very comfortable win for them. That's got to be a lot of confidence going into the next round, which sadly we won't be covering tonight, but before we end things off onto this stream, we'll cover the logs. So I'm not sure if you've got them ready, Beta.
Sure.
Is there anything that immediately jumps out at you? I mean, it was a clean win. It was a quick win. It's hard to find interesting logs in games like that, but please try your best.
Look at the soldiers. They were... I'm pretty sure every single kill on the server was basically the scouts. The scouts are just the ones that have all the kills, and the soldiers are just like fodder.
Poor Wargasm. Oh man, that is Roma life through and through. Was he? Yeah, he was. Actually, you can't even tell. There was like the same sort of heal percentage between both of these teams, so it was like two Roma meta.
There's no pocket at all. Like, it's very interesting to me that the two soldiers with the least damage got the most kills on both teams. It sort of seems weird. Yeah, kills and damage are two different things, and either way how you look at it, the scouts were just feasting. And then Basti, he was having a tough game for sure.
Yeah. You can see the difference between Little Red Riding, and Little Red Riding felt like he had, especially that one moment where it looked like the Uber was questionable. We both kind of were scratching our heads there, and then he just came blazing in with a big boy Kado-like bomb and just laid carpet bombs. It was it looked very satisfying to watch. Very nice map. Sort of commanding there and taking advantage of like the space and the room you have in that sort of big valley area. Very nice to see.
Yeah, he's also he was using the lock and load the entire time, which is kind of an interesting thought, because it's a very long and wide middle point. Like if you compare it to Viaduct, it's a pretty short map with a pretty pronounced arc, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this one is much more mellow, so it would kind of make sense to use the lock and load. Maybe that has like the perfect art to just make it across the point. That's worth thinking about at least.
Yeah. Other than that, you don't really see too much difference between like the medics stats. I think both of the medics. Otto was impressive with his sort of little jumps and slides, and Trump had some moments as well. But other than that, I feel like there's not too much to really delve into the stats here. Nothing completely out of the wings or strange. No crits Kriegs or anything like that being picked up by the Russians like we saw earlier. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's our round, our playoff round one. Easy peasy. Wow, I thought we would be here for a marathon race. We'd be going through a golden cap and everything, but no, very, very well done to the Badlands Chugs. They will take this. They will be going into the second round, the semi-finals of this whole charade, into our ETF2L Season 36 Preseason Map Cup. And TurboTabs TV will again be covering that, but we will be covering that tomorrow, as we are done for the day. People need to go back to sleep and maybe kind of review maps a little bit. We now will be leaving the best of one stage part of it beta, so now people are going to be a lot more tactical, or they actually, well, they can't be tactical at all. If it's a best of 3, they just have to, show them that they're good on all these maps. But if you've got any sort of closing words, closing thoughts, any closing ideas, please be heard.
Well, we had a lot of fun today, but tomorrow things are going to get serious, and you've been kind of able to get away with doing some weird stuff and not really play the map properly, probably. But tomorrow you're going to be facing the best team, so that's where things really get serious, and you're going to have to actually try your hardest, and that's going to be very exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not sure who's going to cast that and what teams exactly we're going to be covering, but it's going to be great, so tune in for that. And that's all I have to say.
All right, excellent. So, yep, you guys knuckle down and tune in tomorrow. That is going to be happening on this Sunday, which is, yep, again, tomorrow. It's going to be around 7 o'clock Central Eastern Time will be the start of our semi-finals, and then we'll be going into the finals a couple of hours later, or whenever we wrap up those semi-finals. Other than that, I've been TurboTabs. With me on the co-cast has been Beta. Again, providing you with all the lovely production side of things has been ArchRhythm. And also a big shout out to DumTum and Wandom for casting earlier the first couple of rounds. And we'll see you all again tomorrow.